Shalom. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. This speech presentation, if we will, is not going to be long. But, brothers and sisters, just wanted to talk on the matter, if we will. Hebrew and its importance. Now, Hebrew doesn't make one righteous, but we do know and understand that part of our curses, due to not being righteous, caused us to not maintain our language. So, brothers and sisters, in light of that, I want to, on a human level, give due respect to my teachers in the Hebrew language. May he rest in peace, More Mishael. May he rest in peace, More Hoshea. May the Most High continue to bless his life, More Yehotzedek. May the Most High continue to bless his life, Kohen Mikael. These and other people influenced me regarding the Hebrew and wanting to learn and so forth and so on. I remember being a child, and the year was 1988. I was 8 years old. And my mother, may she rest in peace, I see was getting frustrated in trying to enlighten me regarding the language, to the point when she actually gave me a spanking concerning it. Brothers and sisters, by the time a brother was 11, and after praying to the Most High on the matter, I was able to read Hebrew. By the time a brother was 14, and after sitting under Adon Aharon ben Zebulun, may he rest in peace, and Moreh Tibak, may he rest in peace. After sitting under them in a congregation called Beni Adat between 1991 and 1992, I began to sit there and understand Hebrew a lot clearer. I prayed to the Most High one time, and some days after that, or a couple of days or so after that, should I say, I was able to read Hebrew out of the Tikkun. The Tikkun is a book that has the Torah from Genesis to Deuteronomy, or in Hebrew from Bereshit to Devarim, with no English in it. And so after that, sitting under Kohen Mikael from 1992 until 1994 regarding Hebrew, it was just what it was after that. Grammar, composition, conversing, speaking on the phone when it wasn't Shabbat concerning the language itself. The same thing was done when I sat under Moreh Mishael from 1998 to around 2002, sporadically throughout classes. This is not for sales representation, being that it is the Shabbat, but those who've been following the channel know that a brother, thank the Most High, has already written books regarding the language. And so, with that being the case, it is important to respect the people who came before you and who paved the way before you, and for you to know that you're eventually going to have to pave the way for someone else. Part of this is motivated because I watched on the brother Chief Uziel's channel the interview that he did with the brother Cohen Zadok, and I know both of those men personally. And when the brother, who's older than me, by the way, Cohen Zadok, was talking about the Hashaba drummers and so forth and so on, it took me back into memory lane when I watched it earlier. Not that I'm part of the drummers, no, but I will say this. When the drummers in Hashaba, when I was there on Linden Boulevard in Queens, wanted to get me into the drummers, I didn't take it serious. They would sit there and say, brother, come on, we're going to have a drumming practice session, and you can sit there and, learn how to go from the third base to the second base to the first base, from the runners and all of that. And then eventually you graduate to the timbales. I didn't go to not one drumming session that Cohen Shake Me Out invited me to. By the time the brothers after the year 2000 were drumming on the train, not to talk business, my job, not knowing how to drum, was to carry the drums from one train car to the next. Because when it came down to it and the opportunity was there to learn how to do it, I was at 14 years old playing Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog. I was playing video games on so-called Sunday when they was practicing on the drums. But yet, when so-called Tuesday came, Yom Shalishi, or the third day, when Kohen Mikael had what is called the Kitasika, I was there every one of them. Taking the notes down, taking the notes down, taking the notes down. Gamar T, Gamar Ta, Gamart, Gamar, Gamra, Gamar Nu, Gamar Tem, Gamar Ten, Gamru, Haim Gamru, Hain Gamru. Gamar meaning to finish or to complete. And then remembering being told that when a wow or a yod is the second letter inside of a root word verb, it drops in the past tense. Quam ti, quam ta, quamt, quam, quama, quam nu, quam tem, quam ten, haim quamu, hain quamu, dealing with the past tense. Taking the advice from Prince Zarishadai Ben Yehuda regarding Hebrew and teaching Hebrew as I do now, thank the Most High, starting with the present tense because most people think in the present tense. So taking all of those different teachers, brothers and sisters, and passing the baton on is very beautiful. A brother feels happy when going to a congregation or a place and people say, I've been watching your Hebrew videos, the emails that a brother gets, the WhatsApp messages a brother gets, the periodic text messages that a brother gets. And when you are calling yourself a moray, meaning teacher, and people see you in that light, it is important, brothers and sisters, to make sure that you do not treat the people in being despondent. Answer the people's questions, just like you do with the white man when he asks you a question at the job. So you can't be a moray on Shabbat, on Pesach, on Yom Kippur, on Shemini Atzeret, on Yom Teruah, on Chag on these holy days mentioned in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, or in Rosh Kodesh, New Moon, mentioned in Numbers chapter 10. But then fall under the situation Jeremiah talks about, is Israel a homeborn slave? When people want to reach out to you, but you're going to tell them I'm at work. You never do that in Israel. You can't be a moray on the Shabbat or the holy days, I state again, and then make yourself too busy to respond to somebody, and your response is, I'm at work. If you can't answer the question, just say, I'm going to get back to you, brother or sister. But you don't sit there and play moray on Shabbat. And then when people respect you for that title, in that position, you sit there and give them the cold shoulder. The Most High see all of that. You can't play people like that. You can't play with the children of the Most High like that. Woe to the shepherd that leads the sheep astray. You accept the position of a moray, but then, or a teacher. But then when people see themselves maybe as your talmid or your student, or your talmidah, or a female student, you sit there and deal with them with Hamas violence. You sit there and you deal with them with mirma, deceit. That's not told, man, old at all. That's not very good at all. Brothers and sisters, my teachers didn't act like that. I remember being able to call, say, More Mishael, may he rest in peace. So call him Mikael. May the Most High continue to bless his life regarding Hebrew, and it will be what it is. I remember sitting under Mordeh Yehotzedek for 3 hours in Hebrew classes at the tender age, if you will, of 15. So my point in all of that, brothers and sisters, is that Hebrew should not be something that is treated like, oh, okay, periodically, it's for some, not for all. Because I deliberately mentioned the days earlier, not per se in English. Shabbat, Rosh Kodesh, Shemini Atzeret, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, Pesach. If we have no understanding of Hebrew, what days are we talking about? If we have no understanding of Hebrew, like no disrespect intended, when many of our people got into the Bible and they reading Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 10, who is Methuselah? Who is Lamech? These names are not English. So, though Hebrew is not a requirement for holiness, we do know that the languages of the nations are profane. We do know, brothers and sisters, that there are many Hebrew teachers in Israel. I give salute and respect to Mordeh Yitzhak, who runs the congregation Shomrei Habrit, who is also another Hebrew teacher. I give due respect, brothers and sisters, to Chief Rabbi Benjamin of the congregation DCB, who, as long as I've known him since the 1990s, he's always was into the language and teaching it, and made very good salient points to myself regarding teaching it. So, brothers and sisters, don't try to make people feel bad if they don't know the language. A suggestion is teach them not being funny on their level. I have cousins, relatives who are not in this way of life of being said in the understanding of Israel. So when they was like, your cuz, because they in the South, not trying to be funny, your cuz, you speak Hebrew, man? And I was like, yes, I do. So these cousins who are not in the way of the understanding of Israel, they ask certain questions, I guess male to male. And I said, okay, you want to know how to say to a woman, you look good. So I told him the answer. I'm not going to sit there and tell a relative or not a blood relative, um, I'm not going to answer that question because you should attend the class and you must buy my book. No, answer the question. You a moray only on Shabbat, or are you a moray because that is the position that you have been granted and that people respect, and you expect people to respect you as you respect it of yourself. You understand? Because what I did not know offhand, not being funny, is that my cousin that's in the South, in Winston, in North Carolina, who was asking me questions about Hebrew, like, how do you say she look good? How you say, yo, son, don't mess with me? And of course, he didn't say don't mess, but I had to explain there's no profanity in Hebrew, you understand. But I had to try to sit there and explain certain things. Come to find out, my cousin is friends online with Israelites that are in the camps in the South. See? One didn't know that offhand. Now, had I been stinking arrogant to my flesh and blood, or trying to say, you must buy this in order to get that, how would that have looked to family? Your status as a moray trumps and supersedes your status as a moker. Moker meaning like a seller or a businessman. You understand? Had I not answered the question that my cousin asked, he probably would have thought that there would have been some curse words in Hebrew, which there are not. Because what he asked me was, yo, how you tell an N word not to bleep bleep with you because I'm the bleeping man. And I said, yo, cuz, there's no way in Hebrew to say what you just said. But I will say, because there's no profanity in Hebrew, what you could say is Al Tikwamein B. Do not oppose me. We could say that. And so looking at it like that, now he knows how to say, don't oppose me. And so I'm using a situation, say, like what happened with my cousin when I was in Winston in North Carolina, you know, as a way to show that this knowledge supersedes just being, say, inside of a camp, maybe. Because people are going to ask you all kinds of questions. So inside of a camp, say on a holy day or not a holy day, the questions may be kind of curtailed. But when you're dealing with people outside of the camp, you don't know what you may run into. So you got to be prepared for that if you're a Moray. See, that's the difference. We're not going to be long, but just wanted to point out this. Israel, pick your Hebrew teacher. There are numerous online teachers in Hebrew. There are sisters who have classes. There are brothers who have classes. Pick your moray, or in certain cases, your mora, which is a female teacher, with whom your spirit congeals with whom your spirit is comfortable with, and let it be so. In closing this out, brothers and sisters, for those who care to contact, my number is 908-587-4841. I'm going to put that inside of the part here. 908-587-4841. All right. So, most High bless, continuing your studies, and do know and understand these nations kind of on a different note. Know that their time is running out. Why do you think they're going as ballistic as they are? Since the era of 2015, the amount of deaths that have happened from quote unquote law enforcement on our people, they're trying to take as many down of us as possible, one way or the other, because they know their survival is not much longer. That's kind of on a different note. But we have in our Hebrew records, for our salvation, we can return to the Most High. Like the prophet Samuel said to Israel, if you want these Philistines up off of you, return back and serve the Most High only. With that, shalom, brothers and sisters. Creator bless. Okay, Darayahu Ben Dora. Okay, spoke about being in the army as a sergeant. All right, cool. All right, bless. And shalom, my brother Darayahu Ben Dora, and shalom, Black Av. All right, Most High bless you all and your families and us all. Shalom.